The entire town fell silent the moment the preacher asked, "Do you take this man to be your husband?" 19-year-old Clara Bennett looked into the cold gray eyes of Ethan Carter, the most feared rancher in Montana. People whispered he had buried more men than he had friends. They said he had no heart, no mercy, and no room for love. She wanted to run, but she had nowhere else to go. What Clara didn't know was that before the sun set, she would discover a secret hidden inside Ethan's lonely ranch, one that would change both of their lives forever. Clara had never dreamed of becoming a rancher's wife. She had dreamed of becoming a schoolteacher, living in a small white house with flowers growing along the porch. Instead, after her father's gambling debts destroyed the family, he made one final bargain. He promised Clara's hand in marriage to Ethan Carter. People called Ethan the Iron Cowboy. Not because he was cruel. Because no one had ever seen him smile. The wedding lasted less than 15 minutes. No celebration, no music, no family dinner, only silence. As Ethan helped Clara into the wagon, she kept expecting him to bark orders or remind her that she now belonged to him. Instead, he quietly placed a warm blanket over her shoulders. "The nights get cold," he said. Those were the first gentle words she had heard all day. The Carter Ranch stretched farther than Clara could see. Thousands of acres, hundreds of horses, yet the huge house felt strangely empty. No servants, no relatives, no laughter, only Ethan. He carried her small suitcase upstairs. "The room at the end of the hall is yours." She frowned. "Mine." He nodded. "You don't have to share mine unless you're ready." Clara blinked. No one had warned her about kindness. That confused her more than cruelty ever could. The next morning, Clara woke before sunrise. She expected breakfast already waiting. Instead, she found Ethan struggling to cook eggs. He burned every single one. She couldn't help laughing. Ethan looked embarrassed. "I never learned. You own the biggest ranch in the county. I know horses better than frying pans." For the first time, Clara saw something unexpected. He wasn't frightening. He was lonely. Days turned into weeks. Clara planted flowers outside the house. She baked bread. She filled empty rooms with music. Slowly, the ranch no longer felt abandoned. The workers even noticed Ethan changing. "He actually smiled today," one cowboy whispered. "I thought my eyes were playing tricks." Even Ethan seemed surprised by himself. One rainy afternoon, Clara wandered into the old barn searching for blankets. Behind a stack of wooden crates, she discovered a tiny room. Inside were shelves filled with children's toys. A little rocking horse, tiny boots, storybooks, a faded blue blanket. She froze. There were no children living here. So why were these things carefully protected from dust? Footsteps echoed behind her. Ethan stood in the doorway. His face turned pale. "You weren't supposed to find this." Clara looked around. Who did these belong to? For a long moment he couldn't answer. Finally he whispered, "My son." Clara's heart stopped. "You have a son?" "I had one." Ethan stared at the floor. "My wife died giving birth. Our little boy survived only 6 months. After they were gone, I couldn't bring myself to throw anything away. I locked this room and never opened it again." His voice cracked. The strongest man Clara had ever met suddenly looked completely broken. For years the town believed Ethan had become cold because he enjoyed being alone. The truth was much sadder. He had loved so deeply that losing everything nearly destroyed him. Without thinking, Clara stepped closer. She gently placed her hand over his. "You don't have to carry this alone anymore." No one had touched Ethan with kindness in almost 7 years. Tears filled his eyes. That night they sat on the porch watching rain fall over the fields. Neither spoke for a long time. Sometimes silence says more than words. Summer arrived. The ranch flourished. Clara organized community dinners. Children laughed across the fields. Neighbors who once feared Ethan now greeted him with smiles. Little by little, life returned to the Carter Ranch. One evening Clara noticed Ethan fixing the broken rocking horse from the hidden room. "You repaired it." He smiled softly. "I think someone should enjoy it again someday." She smiled back. "So do I." Months later, a violent storm swept across the valley. On their way home they found 2 frightened orphan siblings hiding beneath a collapsed wagon. The children had nowhere to go. No family. No home. Clara looked at Ethan. What happens now? He knelt beside the little girl. It's all right. You'll come home with us. The frightened boy asked quietly. Only for tonight. Ethan looked toward Clara, then back at the children. As long as you need. The empty bedrooms were filled once again. The sound of tiny footsteps echoed through the halls. The rocking horse rocked once more. Laughter replaced silence. For the first time in years, Ethan opened the hidden room without pain. Together, he and Clara donated many of the old toys to children in town, keeping only a few precious memories of his son. Those memories no longer reminded him only of loss. They reminded him that love never truly disappears. It simply finds a new place to grow. One autumn evening, exactly 1 year after their unexpected wedding, Ethan took Clara back to the little church where everything had begun. She smiled. Why are we here? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a simple silver ring. I married you because your father made a bargain. But today, he gently held her hands. I want to ask you something no one forced. His voice trembled. Clara Bennett, will you choose me this time? Tears streamed down her cheeks. Without hesitation she whispered, I already did. As the church bells rang across the valley, the town watched the once feared rancher kiss the woman who had healed his broken heart. Their marriage had begun with fear. But it became something far stronger. A love built on kindness, trust, forgiveness, and second chances. Because sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with two people choosing each other. Sometimes, they begin when two broken hearts decide to heal together. Please friends spot my channel. Like, share, comment. Subscribe for more stories.